Nothing in there. Flares, which I've never used. Loads of batteries. And painkillers, which I've never used. Beef jerky. Gotta have more beef.
Unless my friends lie somewhere near you now. A friend in need is a friend indeed. But a friend that's dead is a poor conversationalist. May they rest in pieces, ruptured, decomposing pieces.
More cave-ins. Ooh. Beef jerky! Again. They do have a lot of it down here. Shoes. Ah. Blank note. Beef. 24 February 1972. I write this note in the knowledge. You can't get me, there's a rock in the way. Now, I'm going somewhere else. There we go. Quieter than this. Come on, bit of quiet, please. Yeah. I write this note in the knowledge that it may serve as my last will and testament. Myself and 3 other miners have been trapped beneath the main shaft to the surface for what we believe to be 3 days. But with no daylight and increasing dehydration, it's impossible to tell. The only thing keeping us alive is the hope that there could be a rescue team already on the way. We were all so positive at the start, but that seems long ago now. Renton was the first to crack sometime during the first night. We all just lay there, trying to sleep through the sound of his wailing and sobbing, trying to pretend his problems weren't our own, and that he was weak for having given up so soon. The fact was, he was dealing with the situation pretty realistically. Our chance of survival gets smaller every hour. Since then, he hasn't said much. But the despair that gripped him seems to have spread through the rest of us like a cancer. We were such fools to ignore the foreman, and he paid for that with his life. When he started putting security code locks on all the doors, we thought he was crazy. There's only us down here after all, so why should we need codes to get access to places we're all allowed to go? He gave us all code sheets, made us swear to keep them safe. Huh. Mine hasn't left my locker more than once. It's still there, doesn't get much safer than that. We asked him who we were keeping them safe from, but he never said. It was a pain in the arse, is what it was. I had to track all the way to that crazy biologist's office in the mining room this morning, just to check the code for Section C. But he obviously knew something about these mines we didn't. Some of the guys started acting weird. Not crazy weird, just not normal. I didn't stop a couple of them being carted off to the mainland Europe for psychiatric help. It was no one I knew well until the incident 3 days ago. We were in chemical storage when one of the guys who had seemed pretty straight just started shouting. It wasn't a normal kind of shouting. I'm not any kind of wordsmith, so I just don't know how to describe the noises he was making. We just have to stick with not normal. Anyway, he managed to hurt a couple of guys, damage some equipment before we got him under control. Nothing serious. When we released him, he seemed okay. Phased, but alright. Didn't really know where he was. Far away look in his eyes. That look. I'll remember that for the rest of my days. Even if there aren't many more of them, his pupils weren't dilated. They just seemed to take up more space than should be possible. Black and horrible. Then he snapped and grabbed up one of the high-rated explosive packs. We knew what he intended, saw it in those eyes. Those that could made a run for it, but the guy was already bearing down on the foreman, and he didn't have a chance. There were 5 of us who made it out to the exit shaft. Only 4 survived the explosion. The elevator shaft collapsed in on us, and now it's anyone's guess how many are still trapped down there. The last thing I saw was those eyes. Seemed like they were staring at me. And me alone. Miles Staton. And then there's a completely and utterly empty page. Why? Oh, there's the doggo. Ah, good. So we need to go all the way back up to 12. Or the refinery. Doesn't quite matter which. There he is. Fortunately, I got nowhere else to go. Oh, good. You would come down here, wouldn't you? He's still here. Whoop. Yes, he was. Come on, get out of here. Thank you. Go a different way. Yeah. We'll go around here, keep out of his way. At least now I know I can run a bit. Ah, fence. I was wondering what the eye was appearing for. Through the door we go. Right. Yes. Stacks of books. Yuck. One of those worms. Looks like a smaller species of that worm, that thing I saw earlier. Or just a juvenile. It's been dissected, the internal organs removed. Couldn't be much older than the wall I demolished. Hundreds of newspaper clippings, all to do with biomedical sciences, local wildlife and field studies. Or field studies. And there's nothing in there. It's not from the other side, but I think the key's still in the lock. A mess of sketches, statistics and crude drawings on the chalkboard. It will relate to a large species of annelid. Newspaper. '60s microscope. Functional for research purposes, but become a long way since these were common. Images and notes relating to grey rock worm. This thing is big for an invertebrate. Badly faded, but looks like a close-up view of some of the species of wherever that word was. Save it. A cohort, a man with no name. It is he who opens this gateway to hell. A grin on his face. He is terrible indeed. He watches the men writhe and turn. Still, father looks on. Something vital in his hand. I suppose I can trust these things a bit more. I'm not dead yet. Still, they must have a purpose. What could it be? So, that must be... Yeah, that's a pretty big key. From the debris, I see something huge broke into the boom not too long ago. There's blood and slime everywhere. Ugh. So much death and disease down here. I suppose slugs were an inevitability. Oof. Rockworm study. Professor, these are biomedical journals of Dr. J. Petries, M.Sc. PhD, completed between the dates of 30th March 1969 and 1st January 1972. At the Northwestern Research Station within the Northwestern Iron Mine, with his permission of Delta Mining Corp. Replication of selected extracts left at the disposal of mine foreman. Subject of study, genus Rhyocophila? Anyway, gene rockworm. Aim: to investigate the abnormal presence of the caddis in the Greenland rock. Method: collection of samples, if indeed they can be identified correctly. Standard series of testing, observation and dissection. Personal notes: upon arrival at the mining facility, I was immediately stunned by the sheer volume of fauna that finds a way of life down here. Despite the conditions, in general, one would assume that species whose natural habitat is past a certain depth would find the intrusion of human activity too great a threat to remain in place. However, almost the exact opposite seems to be the case in this instance. It is curious that certain areas of the mine appear to be entirely without life of any kind, and yet other, deeper areas are teeming. And were the situation permitting, I would embrace the opportunity to commit further time to the study of these organisms. However, the purpose of my stay here shall be with the worm thing. Me. Finally. Some writing paper. Look at me, just using up the pages to scroll down whatever comes into my head. What is this stuff anyway? Some kind of research paper? No matter. It's paper all the same. I can finally record what's been happening down here for, I suppose, about a year now. Must be near the end of 2001 by now. I wonder when Christmas was. No matter, too tired to write now. We'll rest a little first. Professor. Samples collected. The collection process has been far easier than I anticipated. To set up the artificial environment for the rockworm went without a hitch. And the specimens themselves are so abundant as to make keeping them out far more challenging than containing them. They are all of healthy size, perhaps even beyond recorded size. And I can only assume that this is due to some lack of natural predators down here. Specimens are as follows: 3 adults in the artificial habitat, 2 larval infants, dead. Me. I've been down here 2 days now. Was meaning to record events every day, but was too busy securing the area. I've used some supplies from the old mining system to wall myself in here. It seems as safe a place as any, so those things should at least stay put for a little while. To that end, it seems I've had a pretty lucky stumbling here. All this old research is about something similar to what's been hunting me ever since I escaped the shelter 4 days ago. Don't get me wrong. After what they did to me back there, I'd rather be facing anything else. I'd rather be facing anything else. And after almost a year of fighting for our lives, we didn't really stand a chance anyway. I don't know how many are left inside. But this is good. These notes might have some way to fight the things. The rock worms that followed me here. Don't know how they knew I was coming, or how they managed to follow me in the dark, but maybe I can work that out now. I found some old newspaper clippings. I guess they're referring to this mine. I had no idea it was so old, so big. I can see now why they built that facility here in the first place. A lot of history buried down here. It worries me though. We'd been resting all our hopes of rescue on one of those scientists who escaped right near the start of it. He got out almost as the chaos began, so we figured he might have made it out and brought help. But maybe me and him are due the same fate. I must record what's been going on. Give the world the answers it needs so it doesn't fall prey to what's been released down here. But first I need to worry about myself, find a way out of here, work out how to kill these worm things. Need a light so I can show my eyes. That's better. Observations. My bum is a little bit numb on this seat. I'll try and wrap this up soon. The creatures are indeed larger than has previously been recorded. The juveniles seem to still be growing, far beyond their natural limits. Although the adults have now expired, I will watch with interest to see what the lifespan is of this particular subspecies. The worms appear to have 3 senses, as would be validated by previous research: taste, smell, and an extremely sensitive sense of touch, which allows them to detect vibrations in the rock in the same way that the human eye senses beams of light and processes them into spatial images. Their natural prey, insects smaller than themselves, and heaven help those insects because the worm is a vicious and efficient killer. Eek. Bee. He's wrong, they have no sense of smell. Today I attempted to distract them with a concoction I found lying around, but to no avail. However, it does seem that they detect movement via vibrations, which would explain how they can see in the dark. Damn, there's almost no way to escape them down here. I'm in their territory now. Lifespan is 3 days and counting. I can still hear them outside the walls. As an extra precaution, I've locked myself in the smaller study area, connected to the main lab room. If they get through that wall, I doubt this door will stop them, but it's better than nothing. Barely. Professor, conclusions. This subspecies of giant worm is highly adapted for its environment. If released above the surface, it seems likely that it would quickly destroy the existing rockworm population. And soon after that, the population would grow to a size far outstripping its own food supplies. Given its increase in size and lifespan already, due to unknown conditions, I would hypothesize that the worm, if left in such conditions for a reasonable period of time, perhaps 3,000 to 4,000 years, could grow up to a further 3 inches, making it a total of almost 1 foot long. However, should those conditions change, or indeed magnify, physical evolution could occur far more rapidly. Yeah, because the one we saw was way more than just a foot. That was at least 5 or 6 meters. If not more. It's the 5th day today, and I swear they have begun to surround my location. I can't tell whether or not they have breached the wall I built, but I'm certain they've entered whatever area surrounds this room. 5th day today. Wall I built. That the wall that we knocked down, because that was a week ago. So this is a different person than the other bloke at the start of the game, whoever that was. But I'm certain they've entered whatever area surrounds this room. The future looks increasingly bleak. I intended to record here the events of the past year, in the hope that perhaps whatever occurred could be contained, or driven away. Now I realise I could write all I wanted. No one will ever make it down here to read it. So why write this now? Good question. I have no answer. All I do know is I'd rather take my own life than die at the jaws of those hideous monsters. I have tied a noose. Those monsters may feed on my corpse, but they won't take my life. So who is that? Is that Red who left that note? I don't know. Nothing in those. That would be the containment unit. It's an artificial habitat. Those things look long dead. I think I know how they felt not being able to get out. Whatever happened in here, someone must have been in a great deal of pain. Ah, I think the worm's got him. Red blood. Green blood. There's only one green-blooded land-dwelling creature big enough to lose this much blood. And I don't see many skink lizards hanging about. Open. Please. Yeah, I don't think we want to go in there. A little bit creepy. However, a light switch. There's writing scrawled everywhere. Must be an ultraviolet ink. Definitely a product of a deranged mind, but whose? Yep. They've either been here a very long time and went mad, or they weren't here long at all and went mad fast. Ah, with the UV light, there's text showing up. The note reads storage password 1371. Out of interest. Ah. I thought with the extra random page there'd be some text there, but it would appear not. Hello.
While you hunt for those delicate, melt-in-your-mouth mousy morsels, there are places you should not go, for fear of death. The Reaper lives here, just like you and I. And just like you and I, he must ingest the living flesh of those less fortunate. There is a small place that I do not want you to visit, even on your holidays, because it is dark and evil place that I've been. When the darkness has overwhelmed my small decaying mind, some bad things have flowed from my mind, and through my pen, the brilliant blue ink itself seemed to turn to blood to my grace. And by the way, should you turn peckish, red is at its finest sautéed with a little engine oil.
So Red was the one who wrote this, and this would be the small room he was speaking of moments ago. So he was the one who wrote that note. Presumably, before his madness continued. So now we have the code. Yeah, so I'd have to go back in there to have a look at it, because I won't remember the code. What was it, 1337? 1371? Yeah, close enough. 1371. And with that, let's give it a save. Yeah. That's all for the time being, and thank you very much, and that is all.